Welcome to another edition of the Civ Battle Royale. My name is Dawkinzz, and this is Season 1 of CBRX, Episode 6, Papuan Romance. Hopes rise and hearts break as the order of civs is jumbled. Starting at turn 81, let's get right into it. Hello and welcome to the Civilization Battle Royale Part 6, Papuan Romance. I am user Scissorfingers, Scissor on the Discord. I'm a power ranker, part-time dev, and mod maker. My civs are Canton, sad face, and India, happy face. I get to narrate an action-filled part and I can't wait to get started. This title screen has been provided by Lunar, and every time I love looking at it, trying to find every civ in the screen. Last week, we saw the ascension of William of Orange to the mantle of Holy Roman Emperor, and already the HRE seems to be doing better than it did under the usurper Ashurbanipal. This map, provided by user Varia, is often the first map out by the time the part ends. So far, the comics seem to have formed a question mark on the map, and Uruguay's spread makes South America look like it's sinking into the ocean. User Spherical Melon made an amazing map this week. Our 4 largest cities are all island civ capitals. Our island civs this mark follow in the footsteps of Hawaii in Mark II. They accumulate huge populations but do not settle that many cities. Will they end up like Hawaii too, surviving only to be eaten up by a continental power? Or will they be peacekeepers? Looks like this week Zimbabwe regained their number 1 spot from the Comugs. The Comugs settled a lot the last few parts, but they seem to have neglected their military compared to their neighbors, so they fell, while Zimbabwe has both a huge military and plenty of cities. A good choice for number 1. More troubles. We start off this part with a shot of the Moorish-Venetian front at Murano. Moorish forces have taken the city down to a little over half health. With Venetian reinforcements being on the wrong side of the Alps, it's hard to see how Venice can keep this city. To the north, William of Orange has taken up the position of Holy Roman Emperor, and already a new settler is out and ready to claim the rapidly disappearing free territory in Europe. Just another day in the desert. The heart of the Sahara is host to units from all over Africa. Songhai warriors quickly rush back to the lands of Askia to heed the call for a war that might actually go somewhere. A Ndongan army stares hatefully at the Nubians. Some say the conquering of Phaistos was such an atrocity that most of Africa was honor-bound to declare war on Paye. Algeria's great general unique unit, the Dey, seems to have defected and is currently running as far away from the Libyan battlegrounds as fast as it can. Did he blaspheme against the gospel of televangelism? Mizumi no Monogatari. Kintaro, the Japanese scout, encounters a large sea to the north of the Great Kamug Mongols. His shogun had commanded him to explore the Great Western Land, but after months of traveling, he had forgotten what it was like living on the sea. As Kintaro reached the shore, the fisherman that he questioned told him of a new settlement the Great Khan had established on the opposite shore. Apparently, Taichiut, the new settlement, was quickly becoming swarmed by holy men from a mysterious land farther north than Kintaro had ever been. The fishermen were wary of this new settlement since it seemed that the Great Khan had set his eyes on this land of mystery, and war might come to follow. Ivan the Terrible indeed. Angered from the sacking of Danzig, Frederick begins his counteroffensive at Vladimir. He sends out a company of spearmen first to test the city's defenses. It reports back to say that other than the city's personal militia, it's as if Ivan has abandoned Vladimir. Frederick can't believe his luck, a city almost freely given. He just hopes that the Goths to the east aren't thinking the same thing as him. All other countries are run by little girls. Mithridates continues to shoot arrows into the burning city of Almady with his horsemen and is puzzled why the city isn't his already. His general down south recommended sending a detachment of soldiers into the city to claim it, but Mithridates waved him off. Surely the best way to attack a city was to fire a volley of arrows at it and never enter it at all. In other local news, Zenobia sends Indira a declaration of war. Indira, quite miffed, said that Zenobia is cancelled and put her portrait in her burn book. Pennsylvania. A large detachment of troops from Poverty Point head northeast towards the Iroquois city of Hastayuntwa. Early reconnaissance suggests that most of the Iroquois army had been sent north to the Great Lakes to fight the Kingdom of Canada, so Tahara expects Hatsayuntwa to not put up too much resistance against the force she sent. Scissor, I appreciate you putting that city name in there twice for me to pronounce. Anzac Memories. A joint Australian-New Zealander force attacks the Murray capital of Cavanba, bringing it down to half health. While New Zealand renews its naval invasion of the Murray, a Tongan settler sails by Christchurch. Seems like Saiosi wants to settle the one-tile island nearby. But will this break the curse of the three-city island gang? Much ado about nothing. The first few Songhai troops enter Benin's territory and find themselves unprepared. Askia, while commanding a frightening military, has forgotten to send more than just a paltry force to the Benin capital. Iware, on the other hand, has organized a defensive line near Ugutan and upgraded all of the archers in his empire to composite bowmen. This invasion won't be easy for Songhai. Ragnar of the Minnesota Vikings. King Ragnar, a messenger shouted in the halls of Nidaros, the Prussians have taken Bergen. Impossible. There is no way that they could have gotten an army past the Sami territories. Have you had too much to drink? Ragnar didn't believe this fool one bit. They didn't go through the Sami, my king. They arrived in Bergen itself on boats. Ha! Boats! Who would have ever attacked someone with boats? A bunch of madmen, that's who, said the king of the Vikings. Nanette Cracker. After Ablai Khan spent years trying to find the fabled Nanette cities, he had to ride home in disgrace. The Parthian invasion now demanding his attention after dozens of letters from local governors panicking about the southern invaders. The Nanettes, however, inspired by this great victory against a foe many times their size, build a new settler in hopes of starting a new age of Nanetsi expansion. Maybe next time they will be the ones to ride south looking for spoils. A powder keg covered in gasoline. The Great Bay has been a meeting place for the powers of the region for quite some time now. The eviction of the Cantonese from Gyeonggi and Shikoku from Pyongyang have strengthened the Chin and Korea, and this region looks like a flashpoint for a war that will decide the fate of East Asia for the rest of the time. The Qing are now with a settler navigating out of the bay, maybe intending to settle a city on the island of Jeju, throwing the balance of power in their favor. Notices bulge. Reports came back to Iware of the cities he had ordered settled to the east, and they were quite strange. His governors had sent letters detailing a group of people in the new city of Owo who claimed to be possessed by the local animal spirits. They would take to dressing up in skins of hyenas and lions, and their speech had slurred to a state in which the sounds they made were more animal in nature than human. Iware knew not what to make of the strangeness of Owo, but all he could do now was to hope that the new city of Udo to the north didn't fall prey to the same affliction. The Papuan Play. For far too long, Raja Papua had been the butt of the joke amongst his neighbors. His position made him look weak. But Raja Papua had enough of that. Now he was taking action by declaring war on the Australians, who were too busy with the Murray. The Papuan Navy is beginning its voyage to the vulnerable city of Perth. If Papua get a foothold in Australia now, they will have an opened path to victory from the jaws of defeat. Nubia. After a fruitless war, both Libya and Zimbabwe agree to settle peace with Nubia. Nubia has maintained a good defense after getting declared on by half of Africa, but that can be mostly put up to lackluster efforts put in by their enemies. Ndongo is the only civ left at war with Nubia, and they should probably make peace as well, as now the Zimbabwean army has no other priorities left other than a distracted neighbor. Norsing around. In the previous slide, the Sami were shown to have peaced out with the Prussians. This is bad news for the Vikings because now the Sami can focus on their more immediate neighbors. Luckily for the Vikings, they seem to have started ramping up military productions and have started building spearmen, while the Sami haven't got a single spearman in their ranks. Let's hope that Sammy Sweetheart and Ragni don't get into a fight yet again because the other members of the household just want to sit by the shore and gym-tan laundry. Underwater Acropolis. The Haida have shown themselves to be the superior culture of North America by building the Parthenon in their capital, Ninstintz. This wonder, weirdly situated in the water, it seems, grants the Haida +4 culture and a great work of art. A great bonus for a cultural victory, but it seems that the Haida have forgotten that they're in a death match. The production used on this wonder would have been better spent on a settler instead. Lord Almady, the Parthians are coming. Almady finally falls as Parthia manages to get a warrior in there and has now started advancing on Sainak. This war has gone terribly for the Kazakhs, and it seems that the Kazakh core is under threat too. Things are looking dire for our former #1 civ. Purple Persia. We see our aubergine neighbors, India and Parthia, settling the mountain passes and the hills of the Hindu Kush. Yeah, Purple Kush, there it is. These two empires are strong and have great stats. If a war was to erupt here, it would get bogged down into a stalemate quickly. If I had to give an advantage, though, I would give it to Indio in this terrain, as Indira's cities are situated on nearly unsaleable terrain, while Mithridates' cities are only defended by the hills that immediately surround them. In other news, a Golden Horde trireme brings the Caspian coastal city of Kuchan to the yellow. However, Toktamish needs more than one boat to capture that ill-defended city. Udo no. A Songhai chariot archer rides up to the city of Udo with the intent of capturing it. He rides up and starts firing volleys at the city, not realizing that he left his comrades behind in the desert. Without support, he is surely to die. Further to the south, a Nubian settler finds space between Benin and Beta Israel. Is Paye thinking of forward settling his neighbors, earning even more of their ire? Maybe he has more of a masochistic streak than we realized. An unexpected comeback. The regional governor of Perth walks out to the seashore and sees the largest fleet of ships he has ever laid his eyes on. The Papuans had come as they had promised. Hawks had called up the reserves to fight against the dastardly Murray and thought the Papuan declaration of war to be a non-threat, so Perth was left almost undefended. This fleet would sail into Perth unopposed. The governor realized with a grim thought that this would mark the first instance of foreign control of the continent. Bergen for a beating. Ragnar pushes Prussian forces from the city of Bergen, taking it back for the Vikings. However, Frederick has 3 triremes in reserve for another attempt to take back the city, and most horrifying for the Vikings, a settler. Will we see a Prussian city in Scandinavia? Wrecked. Alaric seems to be on a settling spree as he settles Lugo and sends 2 more settlers west of Muscovy. Ivan's paths of expansion are rapidly being cut off as the Goths try to emulate the Kamag's encircling of China in Russia. Journey to the, east. Ryoma seems to have forgotten that northern Honshu and Hokkaido exist and refuse to settle there. It's alright though, since Shishi has seen this vacancy and has so graciously volunteered to send a settler there. It seems we will see a divided Japan this time. Shikokuf, indeed. Manifest Destiny. The Apache have settled the city of Caigui, northwest of the Aztec city of Tlatelolco. This could be an attempt to cut off Montezuma's expansion into California and may cause conflict between the 2 civs. Poverty Point, on the other hand, have still refused to settle the settler near Shishinde. Is Tahara afraid of angering Geronimo? If you can't beat him, go somewhere else. While the Moorish attack on Murano has stalled, a lack of melee units in position being the factor, Venice has sent a detachment of archers to relieve the city. I doubt that Venice will be able to defeat the Moors, but maybe Enrico will convince them to go away. Although the Moors' war effort slows, they have settled the city of Malacca near the tip of France. This could be an important staging point for a future invasion of the British Isles. Mesopotamia. As Palmyra consolidates Nekal, Oman seem to have drawn up a defensive line of archers. It's safe to say that this is about as far as Palmyra can go. They are the clear winners of this war, and Oman has been banished from Iraq. Oman also concludes a war with Nubia that was going nowhere fast as well. An Indian trireme watches the crazy situation in the Middle East and is reminded of home. No, you. Askia, outraged by the settling of Tlemcen well into West Africa, settles Tagaza next to the Algerian city of Annaba. Not to be outdone, though, Abdelkader sends a settler south, right on the outskirts of Aragost. If there is anything we can learn about this exchange, it's that both leaders are petty as hell. Amazonia Prime. The military buildup in the Amazon by the Nazca wasn't just for show, and they used that buildup to attack the Kwikuro. Although the Nazca have a sizable force, it is quite spread out and is hurt by the jungle's movement penalties. On the other hand, Kwikuro have just integrated composite bowmen into their defenses and seem well prepared to handle an attack from the Nazca. If the Nazca don't centralize their attack quickly, they might even lose Paradonis. Perth problems. The attack on Perth seems to be going excellently for Papua, as Australia doesn't even try to save the city. The Papuans have total naval dominance, and after they have conquered Perth, they could even take a swing at Brisbane. Australia better peace out with the Murray fast if they want to keep their northern cities. Long way from home. Iware continues to fend off the Songhai. Ido is not under too much danger as the attacking force is quite small. To the south, Queen Nzinga has begun a project to establish more cities as she becomes wary of an ever-expanding Zimbabwe. Africa right now is a balancing act, and anything that changes it can cause it all to come crashing down. Ragnarok. The Vikings find themselves warred from all sides. The HRE and the Sami join Prussia in trying to evict the Vikings from life itself. The Sami begin their attacks southwards, but this is one area the Vikings are not too shabby. Their spearmen provide a good defense against the warriors the Sami field. If there's anything the Vikings have to fear, it's the fact that they completely lack a navy and are defenseless from the coastal attacks. Was it a good idea to build only coastal cities? Every city down south is vulnerable to a coastal attack. Although none of the Vikings' enemies are naval powers, it only takes a few boats to capture a city, and that's more than what the Vikings have. The Sami have resumed what the Prussians started and has begun to attack Bergen. Will they capture it? Probably not by themselves. A Canadian peace. King gives Hiawatha Winnipeg in exchange for peace, and with this move, Canada is officially boxed in. The longest war in the cylinder ends after 47 turns. This might have been a strategic move by King, though, as the Métis seem to be on the warpath and better. They fight the Iroquois and not him. No conquista. Murano still lies uncaptured as the Moorish attack stumbles yet again, but luckily for the Moors, a path has opened for their warrior to take Murano in a couple of turns. This war has been a grinder for the Moors, and the longer they take to capture Murano, the worse it looks for them. The Moors have also brought a settler near the front lines. Maybe the plan is to settle in the space between Saracasta and Murano. Sad pirate noises. Canton, wounded from the loss of Hong Kong, seems to be caught in a vice between all of its neighbors. With another Qin settler near Yaoyang, it seems that there is no hope for them in China. Canton needs to use this to instead forge a naval empire, but in order to do this, Canton needs to build boats, something that Qingxi has seemed quite unwilling to do. Up north, a Qing settler shows up between Ba-Arin and Quanqi. Does Shishi want to add to the border gore of China? Perhaps. A second chance. We saw earlier that Haiti declared war on the Iroquois. Fortunately, the Iroquois have not focused on their southern neighbors at all and have neglected to build a navy. Haiti is unchallenged at sea and has a very good chance of capturing Tayagan and even Desoroken. Come on, Haiti, you can do it! Oof, right in the down under. Perth falls! Raja Papua is beside himself in glee as a significant amount of ground forces arrive in Australia and split his navy into two portions, going Brisbane and Darwin respectively. At this point, Sulu should think of joining the battle because if they don't, they might find themselves surrounded by Papua of all civs. A step too close. The Goths settle Oligarchus and effectively cut off the Golden Horde's northwards expansion. Parthian and the Horde's forces clash north of Otrar in what seems to be a pointless fight. The Horde missed the opportunity to intervene in this war and now must deal with a strong neighbor to the north and across the Caspian. In other news, Ablai Khan decides the best way to reinforce Sainak is to send settlers out. Fortunately for the humbled horse lord, the Parthian advance has seemed to run out of steam, and the local garrison should be enough to be at least able to hold them off until one side sues for peace. Fighting wars good. Poverty Point's war effort continues to annoy the Iroquois more than anything. Poverty Point soldiers have conveniently formed a queue to attack Hasdayuntwa, and fortunately for the defenders, have resolved to attack one at a time like gentlemen. Etiquette is very important, and it would not be like Tahara to be nothing but proper, even in times of war. What a gentleman. Don't count your chickens before they turn into chicken nuggets. Another fruitless war between India and Nepal ends. Honestly, I just think that Indira and Prithvi just go to war to get an excuse to see each other on the battlefield. It's almost like they're teasing each other. Ignoring the romance of the three South Asian kingdoms, Nepal and Kamuk both settle cities in the Tibetan plateau, Nuwakot and Mangut, respectively. Indira also seems ready to found a city just south of Tashkent. This area seems ripe for stalemating wars. Where's Florida Man when you need him? Haiti seems to split up the naval force into two, focusing more on Desoroken. This is odd because, if anything, Tayagan seems better as it's easier for Haiti to control Florida than the Carolina coast. But hey, the overture has exceeded expectations already, so I have faith in him. Amazon doesn't do refunds. Ouch. This war did not go the way the Nazca had planned it to. Their attacking force has been either wiped out or pushed back, and the Kwikuro have mobilized. Paradones is under attack and doesn't look long for the world. If the Kwikuro take it, they could consolidate the Amazon for themselves and establish themselves as a power on this already strange continent. Heart of Lightness. Zimbabwe builds the Gate of the Sun. This non-vanilla wonder provides +3 food and +1 gold on lake tiles, and most importantly, a 15% food bonus in all cities. That's right, every single city. This will make Zimbabwe's already insanely strong position even stronger. Africa is currently on a population and city boom, and I can count 7 settlers in this shot alone. Drank too much Birwa. The recent Murray settle of Birwa has already been taken down to the red by Australia. This city was founded this part, and it seems like Australia just won't tolerate a random Murray city in the worst part of the outback. In worse news for Australia, Papuan forces have just arrived at Darwin, and although it's unlikely that they'll take the city, Hawks shouldn't give them a chance. Scandinavian stalemate. Eadni sat by her hearth as her advisors bickered in the background. The army's advance had been blunted, and they were having trouble against Ragnar's forces. His groundbreaking technology of pointy sticks had the Sami commanders in a tizzy. The shouting of the advisors got louder and louder until Ale, her granddaughter, pulled a knife out and started waving it at her younger brother. "Children, this is no place to fight. This is the war room. Now are you done?" Eadni's voice was quiet, but everyone shut up and started scouring the maps in a much more reserved manner. Eadni shifted again and pulled out a pair of knitting needles. "I'm too old for this shit." Buying Birkenstocks. William of Orange proves himself as the best emperor the HRE has had yet. That isn't saying too much, though, by initiating an attack on Birka. Although the attack just started and his triremes are damaged, I'm confident that William will find a way to take Birka. The British Isles so far look full of units, but Scotland still refuses to use its settlers to do anything more than taking up space. Additionally, Castleton might be the first city to reach 20 population on the cylinder. That's insane. Putting the Russia in Prussia. Prussia pushes on Muscovy even further as Old Fritz surrounds Vladimir. The garrison might be small, but they have damaged the Prussian spearmen enough that they might be able to escape being captured for a few more turns. On the map, there are 2 settlers visible, 1 Czech and 1 Muscovy. The Curse of Lazy Portugal. Anyone that remembers the early days of Mark II remembers the amazing comic by user Metro Goldwyn Mayer, The Lazy Portugal Show. In it, the story of the chronically incompetent Portugal was written brilliantly. It seems like Rahman is a fan and roleplays Portugal by failing to capture what should be an easy capture. What's even more is that he's even brought a settler straight to the front lines. What an honorable tribute to Mad Maria. Turkish Undelight? Mehmed settles the city of Izmir close to Bertha, and although this settle would be nice at any other time, in the middle of a war, having a new undefended city right next to the enemy is just asking for trouble. Mehmed continues to boggle the mind by damaging Hierapolis with a spearman and running away unescorted. Did he just go up to the walls and yell obscenities until their feelings were hurt? Settling for sanity. The Qin keep pumping out settlers like nobody's business, with 2 settlers headed to Tibet. A look at their capital, Xianyang, shows you what that does at currently 6 population. The Qin might get a bit too spread out and instead should work on improving and consolidating their gains. Haiti pulls a Haiti. Wow, La Overture, you had a good invasion force and you wasted it. Haiti's naval invasion of the Iroquois fizzles out, and it seems that the island nation will remain unable to reach the mainland. Venezuela fans might want to pay attention to the settler sailing up to the coast of Belize. Can Venezuela lock down Central America? Gibraltar buddies. The Moors in Algeria have worked out a deal. Abdelkader has convinced Rahman to oppose their regional enemies, Libya and Songhai. This may be nothing more than an empty gesture, though, as the Moors do not possess a navy and will find no place to land troops. Misrata opportunities. Omar settles the city of Misrata right before the Algerian settler could, and thereby traps Algeria to its already disadvantageous position. Unexpectedly, Libya might be in a good spot against the Moors. They have demonstrated that they can and will build ships and far enough away to avoid counterattack that Libya could theoretically launch an invasion of Iberia. You can do it, Omar. Canton get a break. Sumchen is surrounded by units, and although it seems hard to take, if Qingxi doesn't reinforce it, then she'll lose it. On the bright side, Canton have a settler out on the tile that the ruins of Hong Kong were on. To the south, Tonggu have founded the city of Pathain, cementing control of the Vietnamese coast. Oh my. Sulu keep building up an amazing military. Large cities, high science, the works. Everything but new cities. Sulu should really make some settlers and, barring that, declare war on Tongu and pick up some undefended cities. Paradones, my French. When questioned about his apparent abandonment of the city of Paradones, all he had to say was, "What do you mean, Paradones? We've never had a city named that before." This imminent city loss is not too much of a problem for the Nazca, as they seem ready to plop down another settler to replace their soon-to-be-gone settlement. Aussie, 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 oof, oof, oof. Hawks decides that Birwa, contrary to its name, does not have any beer worth mentioning. He elects to punish the Murray's false advertisement by burning the city to the ground. All this is happening while the Papuans surround Darwin and start bringing the city down. Gunnedah, for what seems like the 100th time, is attacked by Australia, although this time the Murray really don't have much more than an archer defending it. Maybe this will prove to be the Aussies' golden hour. New Zealand, on the other hand, has finally produced a settler and are sending it west. Maybe we'll see a Kiwi Tasmania. Han. Maybe King has a fear of being a single city civ. He settles Quebec City in IRL New Brunswick. I think that King has made the most settlers out of anyone in North America when you look at his two cities. Canada's chances at winning are over, but if King keeps settling this way, it'll be a while before he dies. A second chance? L'Ouverture seems to have learned from his mistakes and concentrates his remaining forces at the city of Tiagon. If he pulls this off, Haiti has a real chance of securing the Caribbean under their control. Meanwhile, that's happening. Uruguayan triremes sail past Haiti, hoping to learn how to fight a naval war. Kwikuro Ascendant. With Paradones virtually in Kwikuro's hands, Kwikuro now stand in a much stronger position in South America. With cities that are near impossible to invade and a decent military, they could be the deciding factor on which civ eventually controls the continent. Beer gone. The fatwa against Birwa has been fulfilled, and now every Australian mourns the loss of such an important resource. Up north, Darwin continues to be damaged by Papua with no Australian reinforcements in sight. Gonna damn it! So we have to dissect this. The Murray give away Gunnedah to New Zealand in order to stop the Aussie attack and give the Aussies a problem that they'll have to deal with, a Kiwi foothold on the mainland. It was a genius plan until the Kiwis stepped in and fucked it up with their own stupidity. Instead of using this free, large city, the Kiwis elect to burn it to the ground, along with their chances to invade the mainland. What are you doing? Winnipeg. The Métis launched their attack on Winnipeg. However, the invasion force that they had a few turns ago has dispersed. They should not have a problem taking it though, as Winnipeg can't be reinforced by the Iroquois. Germans in north. Ragnar really is going through a tough time as Prussia takes Bergen and settles the city of Stettin in Scandinavia. This was the worst case for the Vikings, as now they must contend with more powers in their lands. On the bright side for the Vikings, the HRE's attacks seem to have let up on Birka. Condescending Khan descending. This war has been nothing but a disaster for our former top-ranked civ. The Kazakhs wasted their time on a war that was going nowhere while ignoring the threat to the south and lost 2 cities in the process. For Parthia, this war has put them in the top tier of civs and given them a way to expand even further. Additionally, both Kazakhs and Parthia have 2 settlers. Voodoo magic. The new city of Maracay would be the focus of this slide if it weren't for Haiti. They managed to defy the expectations people had for them in the beginning. They now control a city on both North and South America, and tomorrow, the world. Qingxi releases Hong Kong 2. Tongu launched their final assault on Sumchen, right about to take it. This would be another oof for Canton, but on the bright side, they rebuild Hong Kong right next to the ruins of the old one. Maybe Qingxi will learn to keep this one. Peace in Sahel. Askia and Aware both settle their differences and agree to a peace. This war was supposed to be the one where Songhai devoured Benin and became the undisputed winners of Africa. But poor tech and a lackluster invasion force made it so Benin could not only fight them off, but also settle a new city while doing so. This war was technically a draw, but an effective victory for Benin. Tonga time? Papua is breaking down Darwin's defenses, and Northern Australia is effectively under Rajapapua's control. More interesting is the Tongan settler in the middle of all of this. It's unlikely, but there is a chance that the settler moves to where the ruins of Gunnedah will be. Will it happen? Probably not, but I really hope it does. Iroquois delenda est. Métis forces have brought Winnipeg to the yellow, and as the city begins to fall, Iroquois reinforcements are being brought via Toronto. They won't reach in time to stop the invasion, but maybe they'll be enough to take Winnipeg back. Tibetan tantrums. Nepal's citadel's Delhi a crippling blow against India's capital, but I just think it's an excuse for Prithvi to visit Delhi. To the north, Indira gets another enemy in the form of Jamukha. The Kamugs would be a fearsome foe if only India was anywhere near them. Instead, these two immortals will have to settle for trans-Himalayan shouting matches. Great expectations. Haiti seems reinvigorated with the capture of Teagan, and sends in a landing force along with a fleet of new triremes to get at Desaraken. Haiti seems to have picked itself back up and is intent to prove that everyone was wrong about them. Welcome to Kantongu. With the capture of Sumchen, Canton pieces out with Tongu, and honestly, that's what they need more than anything. Canton needs to rebuild this loss and focus on being a naval civ, since it certainly seems the land war is not their forte. For Tongu, this means they have secured the Mekong Delta and are in a position to become a premier regional power. All that they need to do is build up an army and settle some more cities. However, after this, Tongu needs to be able to take on the giants in India and China. Maybe this war gave them that chance. Dashed expectations. AI gotta AI. Right as Kwikuro was about to capture Paradonis, Nazca pulls a peace treaty out of its ass and keeps the city. After this, I'd say Nazca are in a much better position than they were just a couple of turns ago. Kwikuro, on the other hand, just lost all of their momentum. Their nice army and good centralized core in the Amazon are now in a precarious position, and they threw away their one chance at breaking out. Disappointing, really. Vikings and boats? Ragnar was standing on the shore of the Ribe, watching one of his men pull out a boat, and did something mind-boggling. He saw his men put weapons in a boat. The Viking king was astonished. Who knew that boats could be used in an offensive manner? Certainly not him. Winnipegs and bacon. My dear fellow Emoto Hiawatha, I have conquered your city of Winnipeg. I have set fire to your camp and slaughtered your soldiers. I have dashed the men and women of your city and claimed the survivors for my own. I have shown that I am the one that knocks down the walls of my enemies, and I challenge you, coward, to meet me in battle. From your dear friend, Louis Riel. That accent just kind of went all over the place at the end there. Oh well, that's French-Canadian. From me, Dawkinzz. That's the tea, Eagon. Hiawatha, so shaken by Louis Riel's letter, absent-mindedly looked through the rest of his letters and began signing off on orders without reading them. He should have, though, as one of them contained a request from Haiti for peace, and now by accident, the captured city of Tiagan went unchallenged. Love triangle intensifies. Shivaji, jealous of how close Prithvi and Indira have gotten, makes a move on Indira and declares war on her. South Asia in general needs to learn how to deal with feelings in a more productive manner, apparently. The Maratha position is a bit hard, though, as the battleground is the plains of the northwest, and Indira has a larger military than Shivaji does. Everyone seems to want a piece of India nowadays. Social Darwinism. Australia concedes defeat to Papua and sues for peace. This war put Papua back on the map and gave them nice, productive continental cities. It'll be harder now for Australia to connect with the cities of Brisbane and Hobart and even Gold Coast. Unlike Mark II, Australia has outside challengers. Whatever Lavalleja did to offend the Sultanum, we may never know. But John Huante does, and Juan Huante does not tell. I just learned that the Juan Huante is not one singular person, but a group of quote-unquote spirits. They were shamans of the society. There were ones of men and women. They had all sets of rules. Really cool. Definitely worth checking out. Anyway, they declare war on them and immediately mobilize forces south of Paysandu. This war will decide if Sultanam will stay confined to their chilly, mysterious spot at the end of the world, or will they break out? Omaiwa mo shindairu. Shikoku decides it's time to try again, with more ships. Ryoma's fleet is much larger than last time's, although the Koreans do have a navy now. If that's enough to stop the gray from eating the pink, I don't know. But as someone who was assigned to Korea in the CBRX sweepstakes, this makes me big sad. Surprise, motherfuckers! Venezuela has decided to move out of South America entirely and has settled across Central America, with one more settler about to plop down a city. Chavez might recover his top 10 spot yet. Also, there seems to be a Manx trireme off Maracaibo. Do we have our first transatlantic voyage? Tongans on a trip. The Tongan Navy sails past Papua and onto the islands of the Philippines and Asia. Is this invasion force headed to challenge the great land powers of China? Wu Chang clan. Afraid that her far-off citizens of Fuzhou were feeling lonely, Shishi sends another group of settlers to settle the city of Wuchang to north of them. Together, these cities form the beginnings of Chingchatka. Across the Bering Sea, local Yupik woman, Sara Palin, claims that she can see China from her backyard. Her delusions have the local priest come in and try to get the funk out of her system. The Prussian bargain. Frederick whips up a peace deal out of nowhere and keeps the cities of Bergen and Stettin even though he had absolutely no way of protecting them. In his haste, he trapped a group of Prussian sailors in Viking waters. This war was a disaster for the Vikings as not only did they lose cities, but they allowed a settler in their backyard and screwed themselves over when they were about to take them back. Peace in the Middle East. The Omanis remember that they were at war with Palmyra and hastily send a message to Zenobia's court with a deal to leave things just as they are. Oman has lost its access to Mesopotamia and now must focus on the Arabian Peninsula before more Palmyrines arrive. Kiss my Anyi. The Qin settle Anyi mockingly close to Hong Kong as a message to Qingxi that she should know her place. Another Qin settler heads westward to the lands of Nepal and Tongu, two empires that the Qin need to be cautious in dealing with. The Tongu have gone on a settler building spree and have 3 settlers out, one next to Inwa, one next to Sagyang, and one off the coast of Bago. Ha! You activated my trap card. Seems as though that Lavalleja was much more prepared for this war than the Jean Huante expected. An army works their way down to Paysandu and sends the army of Kamal spearmen that Sultanam has hedged their bets on. This war looks more in favor of Uruguay as it goes on. India, you okay? Apparently Indira wasn't convinced that she was the leader of India and insists on settling Tibet, the new city of Madras, placed just south of Tashkent. Is this a political statement? Maybe. But as more and more Indian settlers enter the Himalayas, one must ask, why is Nepal not settling these areas? Is Prithvi gifting these lands to Indira? Maybe. Fuck roads, that's why. Juan Lopez was just a normal merchant making his living. Every week, he'd make the trek between Maldonado and Tacuarembó using the Camino de la Amazonia. But as he left the city of Maldonado, he noticed that the road was cordoned off. Apparently, the forest men had built a new fort there, claiming part of the road of themselves. Juan Lopez made his way back to Maldonado and prayed that Lord Lavalleja made these thieves pay. Madagascar 2. Escape to Africa. Ranavalona has commissioned a navy be built and a new settler be built so Emarina could spread to more lands. Unfortunately for her, the eastern coast of Africa was quickly being swallowed up, so now she needs to find another spot for her intrepid new settler. Aha! I counter your trap card with another trap card. Juan Huante remembered one thing that Lavalleja did not. No matter how good a land defense is, if one neglected naval defense, it was pointless. Using his superior navy, Juan Huante pinned Uruguay's ships north and opened the way for Selknam to surround Paysandu. This really looks like it might be Juan Huante's hour of destiny. Buzidao Dong Nanji Bay. That's right. Vancouver Guard number 1. Hey, aren't the Métis to the west of us? Vancouver Guard number 2. Yeah, are you stupid or something? Vancouver Guard number 1. Then why are those ships in the distance flying the Métis banner? Vancouver Guard number 2. You're delusional. Just look, those ships are just... Oh, damn. Naisha City you got there. The Apache have secured Southern California for themselves, cutting off Aztec hopes. This region looks resource-rich and will host some of the largest cities in North America as a result. The Yupik seem to be interested in this too as they head towards Cascadia with their settler, who has been wandering for about 3 episodes now, so perhaps they won't settle for another 3 and just get killed because the Yupik are doing nothing. Otto be fucked. Zenobia manages to wrangle herself the new Ottoman city of Izmir in a peace deal, and with this, Zenobia has locked down Anatolia for Palmyra and doomed the Ottomans to an existence not unlike the Byzantines of IRL and Mark II. As Palpatine would say, ironic. If you don't like it, you should move to Venezuela. Hugo Chavez realized that after Venezuela was attacked by Haiti, that his nation had an image problem. He was seen as weak and a place no one wanted to be. To fix that, he first built up a navy that would prevent another Haitian attack, and settled up Central America to shore up his defenses, and he hired a man named Carlos Quirco from a group of town criers known as Unidas de Pajeros, and told him to go all over the Americas and instructed him to tell people that, if they didn't like it in their home nations, they should just move to Venezuela. Hugo Chavez was convinced this would help rebuild the damaged image of glorious Venezuela. Impediment. Nubia surprisingly settled the city of Pedame on the mouth of the Red Sea across from Beta Israel. This city is an immensely strategic location as any naval vessel that wants access in or out of the Red Sea needs to pass through Pedame's waters. This is also a threat to Oman as they have another challenger for the Arabian Peninsula. Zimbabwe. As we finish this part, we close off with a view of southern Africa under the control of Zimbabwe. Looking at them, they look a lot like their orange predecessors in Mark II. These lands won't be challenged for a long time, maybe not even at all. Africa is a ripe fruit for Mutota to eat, but the question is, will he eat it? This has been user Scissor Fingers narrating a very exciting part, and I hope y'all enjoyed my commentary. And this has been your audio narrator, Dawkinzz. We'll see you next time.